Analytics, guitars, Cadillacs, and Zerto Analytics. Excuse me. We have the good fortune to have Jeff Frankel from McKesson here with us, power user. So for the agenda today, I'm going to go maybe do a 5-minute level set, just what is Zerto Analytics, just because we do have some newer users, some prospects listening in. 5 minutes tops. But then we're going to get Jeff into telling us how he uses Zerto Analytics, how it helps him, deal with his day-to-day at McKesson. And then once we get through that, we're going to do a recap of some of the real new stuff that's coming out, because Zerto Analytics has all these great new features that are coming out. I'll do a little an aside. We're not going to repeat anything you just saw in the keynote. So we actively divvied it up. So Rob Strechay showed you some stuff, and we're going to show you a bunch of different stuff. But it's all related to the same product. So we're going to talk a little bit about not the here and now, and then we're going to talk about some really cool stuff that's coming soon, the planner, which I think a lot of people have heard about over the last couple days. And then we're going to look at the roadmap and have some QA. So we've got a lot to pack in, and I understand that Jeff and I are the only ones standing between you and cocktails. So I will not drone on. However, I'll stay here as long as people want to have Q&A at the end. So I think that's it. So with that, let's get started. So what goes better? Guitars, Cadillacs, and a good pair of boots. Guitars, Cadillacs, and Zerto Analytics, right? Wow, you guys are tired. That was a bad joke, but at least you got a groan or something, right? So I like this picture to talk about Zerto Analytics, because it's conceptual and it's important, because Zerto Analytics is the world view. Everything you have chosen to protect, this is what Zerto Analytics can see. And a little bit of history, back 2011, we started with on-prem, recovery, protection, that's it, a little bit of on-prem. But the architects had this concept, single platform, that we knew we were going to get here someday. So there's this concept where we have all of these ZVMs on-prem for all your sites, and then we have these ZCAs up in the cloud. From your experience on the UI, it's all the same experience, and it's for each site. So what Zerto Analytics does, Zerto Analytics is the worldview. Everything you're protecting, you get to see it in Zerto Analytics. So conceptually, that's it. And it's been out now for about 2 years now. SaaS delivery, and it's got a load of content. If you want to learn more about it, Google Zerto Analytics. You'll get to the page, how to make it work, all that good stuff. But in a nutshell, you've already seen a couple times over the last couple days, there's the dashboard that has the topology map, has the alerts. This is the aggregated alerts from all sites, the topology of all your sites. And then we also have 90 days of history for network, journal, and RPO as well. And some analytics that go with those reports, how long you've been crossing thresholds, whether you've hit your RPO levels or not. We also have a mobile delivery. So you just, when Zerto Analytics is up and running, you just go to either store, whichever store you like better, and whichever device you have, download Zerto Analytics. It's just Zerto Mobile, that's it. Zerto Mobile, download Zerto Mobile, and you get a summary of the dashboard, enough to go, uh-oh, better go to the console. So that's all there today. I draw your attention to the bottom left corner. Rob mentioned this as well. When we started building Zerto Analytics, we took an API-first approach. So new Swagger delivery, really cool. It's open source. For those that know Swagger, your heads will nod and go, great. For those that don't know Swagger, once you try it out, you'll go, wow, this is cool. So anything you see in Zerto Analytics, we have scripts for right online. Top right of the top right of any user interface. Sit there, click down, open the API, and you can just start accessing any API to get any data you want. There's also the ability to export, PDF, CSV, all that good stuff. So all of that we've been shipping for a while. One other thing about Zerto Analytics, and again, Rob mentioned this part of it, that since we're SaaS delivery, we release a lot of stuff quickly. And I think I was happy to see Heise even showed the What's New tab. We added the What's New tab about a year ago, because we added so much stuff, and I had users coming to me and saying, when did you add that? Why did you add that? We've added what's new, so whenever we add something new, it's a reminder. And if you see something there, it's your opportunity to just be self-educated. And then, of course, there's the documentation for it all. So that's really the core product. That's what that's where we were in 6.5. Very powerful. As far as the logistics, the operational part of using it, there is no setup for this. All you do is, if you want your site to appear in that topo map and you want all that information to come up, you go into ZVM and you check the box. That's it. Check the box, and then that starts coming up. Yeah, there's a question.
So if you do that on you have 6, 7 sites.
Yep.
Is there a UI for all 7 sites, or you have to input into that one, or you get 7 different analytics?
Good question. Let me try to be crystal clear about what you get. And if I don't answer your question, you tell me. So it was a question about setting up and what do the UIs look like in general. So to be crystal clear, if you know nothing about Zerto Analytics, you have 6 sites, and you have a ZVM for each site, or if it's in the cloud, you have a ZCA for that site. 6 sites, 6 UIs. And if you want to use Zerto Analytics, you go to each one of those, check the box. Yes, Zerto Analytics. Yes, Zerto. If you only want 4 out of the 6, check those 4. Don't check the other 2. And then all you do is open Zerto Analytics, and the data's there. It just autopilot. It's a new data. It's a new user interface delivered via SaaS. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Does that make sense, folks? Good. Yeah. Okay. I'm kind of zipping through this because, frankly, if you want to learn more about I can't encourage you enough to just get out and start using it. It's intuitive. It's read-only, so it's not like you're going to blow apart any configurations. Just get out and start using it. One other bit here, before I get Jeff up here to tell you the really good stuff. We also are always balancing how can we help out our service providers. And one of the things we added like 6 months or so ago is this thing we call the Zorg filter, or the Zorg. And that's predominantly what our service providers use to represent each one of their customers. So they have this Zorg for each one of their customers. And so if the CSP wants to see the customer's consumption, the customer's RPO, they just select that customer in Zerto Analytics, and they have their customer view for them. That's it. It's that easy. So there's a lot of similar use cases between enterprise, large enterprise, and CSPs. But once in a while, there's a couple features that make sense for just one or just the other. So that's one. I just wanted to point that out to you. And that tab only shows up if you have a service provider license, which makes sense. So that's it. I tried to keep this kind of brisk, a reminder for those that know what Zerto Analytics is, and enough information to point you in the right direction. So that said, I'd like to reintroduce one of our power users, Mr. Jeff Frankel. Come on up, man. Thanks.
So I'm kind of surprised that Lee didn't mention this right off the bat, but each and every person attending this session today will be receiving an unlimited use free license for analytics. And just see Lee right after I'm kidding, it's free, you already own it. My name's Jeff Frankel. I'm a disaster recovery engineer with McKesson Corporation in San Francisco, California. A little bit about our company. We are the largest company you've never heard of. We're currently Fortune number 5. We're also the longest continuously operating company in the United States. We were founded in 1833. I feel like I've been there since the onset. I've been there 24 years now. We're a pharmaceutical distributor, a healthcare services company. Primarily, it's pharmaceutical distribution and med-surg distribution. We also do pharmacy services and pharmacy technology. The really short version is if you've ever walked into a pharmacy and had a prescription filled, there's a really, really good chance that that prescription got there on one of our trucks and came from one of our warehouses. We've been a Zerto customer since 3.0, so we've been using the product for a while. We have 2 main use cases for Zerto in our environment. The first being disaster recovery, obviously. We're doing on-prem from Sacramento to Atlanta. We're doing on-prem to Azure. We're also doing on-prem to IBM's facility in Sterling Forest, New York, as part of their data availability as a service. John Bergonzi's out there somewhere. Say hi to John. He can tell you all about that service if you want. The second use case is migrations. We're doing all of our lift and shifts up to Azure with Zerto. And then over the course of the years, we've purchased a number of small companies that we've brought all of their servers into our environment using Zerto, and our divestitures as well. We've spun off a bunch of those companies as well, and we're using Zerto to get those boxes out of our environment into their new homes wherever they may be. So there's two main groups that are responsible for data, for disaster recovery at McKesson. The first one's BCS. They are business continuity services. They are the business-facing side of our organization. Those guys are the ones who are responsible for meeting with the business units and meeting with our BSOs and determining scope. They are the ones who get to talk to the auditors and report all of our successes and failures. They do all of the logistics behind our DR testing. They schedule our tests for us. They do all of our record keeping. The second group up there, DR as a service engineering, or DRAS Eng, as we're lovingly referred to, is the group that I'm a member of. We are the ones who get the completed AIAs from the first team, Business Continuity Services, and then we evaluate them, determine the best DR solution, Zerto being our first choice, and then we engineer and implement. We're also responsible, for doing all the testing involved. So I can be found every Thursday morning, bright and early, failing over our primary data center to our secondary over coffee. When we first started this program, Business Continuity Services, as much as I really love those guys, bless their hearts, would harass me continuously for information. They wanted new install rep status. That application that I gave you an hour and a half ago, is it in sync yet? Can I test it? They wanted RPOs, RTOs. They wanted VPG status. They wanted, which servers are in which protection groups. Is this one particular VM being protected by Zerto? And when you have 5 coordinators who are all managing several implementations simultaneously, as well as doing scheduling of DR testing, those requests got really, really, really time-consuming. And with analytics, they can pull all that information by themselves. It's completely self-service. They can log in and find the answers to all of those questions. Initially, when we started the program, we had tried putting up we succeeded. We put up a Zerto Cloud Manager to try and fill that function. And it worked. However, it was one more server in the environment to maintain. We had to patch it. We had to manage credentials on it. We had to do the Zerto upgrades on it. And most importantly of all, we were getting billed for it. Our infrastructure team was charging us for that server that we barely ever used. We really just needed a place where they could go and get RPO, RTO, VPG status without giving them access to the ZVMs. We didn't want them in the ZVM GUI. They'd have access to our vCenters by proxy. And I have, at any given moment, 30 some odd ZVMs. We don't want them splunking around. So when analytics came along, it gave us all of that functionality without having to maintain another server in our environment. No credentials to manage. If the user has a McKesson.com email address, they were free to go out, make a MyZerto account, log into analytics, and they would get all of the information they needed. And it was free. We really liked free. So the first great use case for Zerto Analytics for us was analytics giving me the ability to completely ignore the BCS team. The second case turned out to be upgrades. Amateur astronomers in the room will recognize this as the, oh my God, good luck with that star cluster in the constellation Orion. This mess here represents about 2/3 of my environment. The rest will be coming if ever I can get all of the changes approved from the different business units to allow them to see analytics. I manage probably 75% of the entire environment, including that one. The rest are either business units that are self-managed, I don't have access to their ZVMs, or they're outside companies that we have incoming VMs we're replicating in, or stuff that we're divesting out, we're replicating their servers out. I have no access to their ZVMs at all. So I used analytics extensively when we started the 6.5 U3 upgrade. As you guys are aware, when you're doing Zerto upgrades, the upgrades have to go in lockstep. 5.0 can replicate to 5.5, 5.5 can replicate to 6.0, 5.0 and 6.0 can't see each other. So when you're doing the upgrades, you have to bring your oldest rev up first to an acceptable level, and then you're free and clear to do the rest of your upgrade. So previously, the only place I was able to see all of the versions for the ZVMs that I don't manage was to log into all my ZVMs. I have 30. Go to the Sites tab, find the partner replicating, jot down the version number, and then compile myself a little spreadsheet, and I could perform my upgrade from there, do my upgrade plan. Analytics, however, puts the version right on the dashboard, which is really nice. And it does it not just for my sites, but the sites I don't manage. I can't log into some of those ZVMs, but I know what version they are. And this even includes, by design, ZVMs that are not on my license. So, hi, John Bergonzi again. I can see IBM Sterling Forest's version number, even though I have no power to do anything there, but I can get John on the phone and go, hey, we're getting ready to go to 7.0. I need you to move to at least 6.5 before I do it, so we don't break replication, or we're able to, continue the migration. So in addition, you get the nice graphic showing all your ZVM pairings. So it really made the migration much, much easier, at least the planning portion of it. The last thing I wanted to mention before I take off, and we don't have a slide that speaks to it, it was something that Lee and I discussed when we were getting ready for the presentation, and that's starting with analytics in the morning. Me being obsessive, like I am, the first thing I would do every morning is log into, and I'm sure most of you do the same thing, log into all the ZVMs and let's take a look at the health check. Let's take a quick look at the environment and see how everything's going. And when you have an environment this size, well, the upshot to it was, Steve's not here, I could ignore my boss, Steve, for the first hour and a half of every morning, logging into all my various ZVMs. And switching that over and getting into the habit of starting with the Alerts tab instead, on the Alerts tab in Analytics, you're able to see all of the alerts that are being generated by all of the ZVMs that are reporting up into Analytics, and you guys know your environment. You can quickly look through, see which alerts are environmentally caused or a known problem, or it's your problem children VPG. You guys all have those, and you can quickly scroll through and find, oh, this one's an actual problem, I need to address this, then go log into your ZVM and do real troubleshooting. So, that's really it. The takeaway is make sure that your boxes can see analytics. Again, as Lee stated earlier, it's one checkbox and then a firewall rule. I think it's 443.
443.
And then get yourselves into the habit of starting with analytics in the morning. There's a ton of useful information.
Yeah.
And
hey,
that's pretty much it. And with that, I yield the remainder of my time.
Well, hold on. I'm not going to let you go yet.
Or-
it got me
or
thinking.
not.
You're seeing, collaboration happen in live. It occurred to me, when you're using, you kind of a wish list for the VPG page for kind of the start of your day. Is there anything you're looking for, either on that page or elsewhere, that would help your life? Is there anything that will help you out?
There's two things right off the top of my
Sorry
head.
to put you on the spot.
No,
by
that's
the way.
fine. Starting with the alerts page, one of the things that I do find annoying a little bit is on the very first page on analytics, on the home page, you can link straight to, or there's the hyperlink to your ZVM right there. So you can launch the ZVM right from the analytics page. And on the alerts tab, it's telling you which ZVMs the alert's generated from, but that's not clickable.
Yeah.
So being able to drill down straight to the ZVM from there would be really helpful.
Okay.
The other thing is reporting. And I know you and I talked about this a while back, because the one thing that the BCS group still cannot do self-service is failover reports. Right. You know, every time we fail over, they want the reports because it's got to go to the auditors, and that's, you know, we're using the Zerto reports kind of as the source of record for all of our failovers.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, that makes sense.
That would be incredibly helpful.
Okay, thanks. And I know you've already submitted those. Hey, for those that don't know, up in the top right of any of the Zerto Analytics, there's an ability to submit a feature request, and it just opens up our ideas portal. We recommend first search on a few keywords, because there's chances are, like both of what Jeff just talked about, those are not new and interesting. Well, no, they're interesting,
Thanks.
but they're not new. And it's getting late.
I'll come up with new ones. I'm sorry.
Yeah, please come up with an interesting
mean
one,
to
okay?
fail you.
No, but you can vote. So if somebody's already taken the time to say, look, this is a pain, this is why, you look at it and go, yes, just vote on it, right? Because we a bunch of product managers are here. We look at that and we understand it. It might take time to react, but we do watch those we all get together in a big dog pile every other week and just sort it all out. So use that mechanism. So yeah, those are in the queue. I'm going to touch on where we're heading with both of those on the very last future slide, because we know we need to do stuff like that, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. For now, thanks. Hey, we'll get you back up here in a minute. So thanks, Jeff. Thanks.
Thank you.
So let's see what's new. So a couple minutes, just to, we move so quickly in Zerto Analytics that it's funny. We had a couple meetings on Monday, and 3 or 4 of the folks were saying, I really need storage visibility. I need to be able to see the data stored, and we were kind of smiling because we had just released that in March. We've been hearing from all of you for a long time. You want storage visibility, and hey, we released it in March. Getting a little ahead of myself. Roadmap, but in that, here we go. What's new? I think I have a slide that says this. Hi's already talked to you about the what's new button, and so storage planning. This is the demo that Rob provided. And we hear you. There's things that'll make your life easier, so we're going to react to that. It's within all the other things. The visual I always do is product management. This is all the things we want. This is like the stuff we're going to get each release. So we got to just figure it out together. So the thing I'd point out, storage right now, you'll go there, no history. It's a snapshot of what your storage looks like today. History is absolutely coming. You'll see that in the roadmap in a minute. But it's the philosophy of Zerto Analytics. If we got something that's good, we're going to get it out to you, and we're going to have a vision as to how it evolves over time. So keep that in mind. There's a couple other places you'll see that in Zerto Analytics as well. But powerful, you've already seen the demo, so I won't go on about that. For those of you paying close attention, the dashboard occasionally pops up with new features. That graph at the bottom there, that's new. It used to just be a simple time summary. Now we actually show a complete aggregate graph of your entire environment. We're looking at taking that further, but incremental progress, a little bit better each time. Resource planning, this is the cool one. We're going to do this. I'm going to elaborate a little bit more in a minute on this stuff. So this is the thing that's been hinted at. Real powerful analytics for all of you. So we'll get into a little bit more detail there. And then so we don't forget, as we're doing all of this, always the APIs are there. So if you want to build it into your portal, whatever, APIs are always available too. So let's dig into the resource planning. This is our planner. So before I get started, this is really cool. It turns out that a big part of the reason that, there's 2 big reasons this exists. One is over the years, all of you have been asking for better what-if analysis in the product. How do I change journal size? How do I optimize? We hear it in all different ways. We knew we needed to get the planning. That was one of the big drivers. The other thing that where this came from was something really cool. This dude over here on the right, JP, he just, in his spare time, because he's got so much spare time, he sat down and wrote this script called Z Planner. Really powerful tool that was kind of a standalone. How many people are familiar with Z Planner, have used Z Planner? Yeah, see, there's a couple of you. It's powerful. It's really cool, and you just kind of built it. So thank you. And that's kind of the Zerto approach. Sometimes we know something might not show up in a product right away, so creative people build stopgaps as we march towards the solution. So thank you that you didn't make everybody wait for 6 months, and now this is coming out any week now. In the next few weeks, this is really close and on its way. So let me tell you about it. It's resource planning. So one of the use cases is to say, I would like to protect more VMs. And they're unprotected, and all we're doing is going to vCenter. We're keeping an eye on all your VMs and all the stats that go with them. And if you select some VMs that you'd like to protect somewhere, on-prem, Azure, AWS, then we tell you what resources are required to do that. It's that, protect more. So that's one of the use cases. And then its cousin is just moving on-prem to the cloud. So you've got a bunch of VMs, and it's time to start dabbling in the cloud. So what's it going to take to move these 20 VMs to the cloud? That's the second use case. The third one, we always keep our service providers in mind. And what this allows our service providers to do, same kind of mechanism, but it allows our service providers to be a trusted advisor to their end users, because now they can, with confidence, size. Not too much, not too little. And it's not just a cookie cutter approach with plenty of margin. So they can really become experts based on real, as measured stats, get that laid in place, get the plans in place, and then when the installation goes on, it all just works. The numbers were right. So they become trusted in that way. So 3 really powerful things. And note that this is only phase 1. We got critical mass of something really good that will help. So we're going to get it out in your hands, and there will be more updates to this through the rest of this year. And, same old thing. It's like Jeff made me nervous at the beginning, that we're going to give away free license. I mean, you just get Zerto Analytics. If you have a license, you get it. And like everything we're going to put in it, this is just another feature in Zerto Analytics. So if you're already using Zerto Analytics, the day this goes live, that little What's New tab is going to show up and say, hey, you're going to need to run 7.0 U1, but as soon as you get a site up to 7.0 U1, you'll start being able to use Planner for that site. So it's coming really soon. And now we've got a demo, actually. So this is the demo. It's about a 3-minute demo. It's a recorded demo, but it's a real live recorded demo, one take. So this is the ZA dashboard that we all know and love. And you can see it's a little different because we've only got 6 VMs and 6 VPGs, although we've got 7 sites. So what we've done is deploy a bunch of ZCAs and a bunch of ZVMs, and now we're taking a look at the what's new, and notice the little planning tab right next to it. That's going to be new. So you'll see planning. You click on that. So we've got a lot of ZVMs, but we're only using 6 ZVMs, so we've only got 6 VMs. So we go to the planning. What do we want to do? We want to select the VMs that we want to protect. And it's a very standard model. I mean, we just leveraged the one that everybody's familiar with. So you can select a site, and you can also search for VMs. There's a search capability in here. And it's intuitive, just the way you'd expect. Pick your site, check off whichever VMs you want to protect. In this case, we found our right site. Let's take these 7 VMs, toss them over in the protect. Where do we want to protect them to? What's the target? And in this case, well, let's try Azure. Let's give that a try. And you've just seen the entire setup of Planner. Click Save. And this is your answer. That's how fast this is. This is not sped up or stopgap animation. It's that quick. So it allows you to try new VMs. It allows you to try, to experiment. So First thing you'll see is that I'm a little slow with the animation, but on the top row, you get to see how many ZCAs you need, how much storage do you need, how much bandwidth do you need. Those are the headlines. And if the numbers are making you a little nervous. Now, that's based on some very aggressive calculations. So, Rob was saying, we take a lot of hard things and try to make it simple. So there's a load of calculation and analysis that goes on underneath based on these 7 VMs. So the 7 VMs, this is the raw data coming out of the 7 VMs that drove the calculation, that pushed up the numbers. So you have the ability also, as I said, because it's so quick, you can go in and iterate. You can add a VM, and you can see if there's a really bad behaving VM. You might want to take that out of the mix, and all of a sudden you'll see the ZCAs go down to 1. And you've got a good batch of VMs. So that's the flexibility, and we've provided the detail across. Now, if you go up to the top, on the left side, there's the source, the number of VMs, and the destination. That's what we started out with. We entered that. Over to the right, excuse me, we've assumed a compression ratio. We've assumed a journal history of the standard 24 hours. That's what we ship today. That will be programmable in the future. So for now, you're planning for a 24-hour journal period. Very soon, you can use this for what if. Do we want to go 24 hours, 7 days? And every time we go back, so now what we've done is gone back. Same VMs, except what if I wanted to deploy these on-prem instead? This is all real time. So what comes back now is, what do we need to do if I was going to protect those 7 VMs on-prem? What's the storage I need? What's bandwidth I need? So that's it. There's the fabulous demo. And I can't stress strongly enough how much hard work and analysis goes in under the covers to make this just so darn easy. It's really straightforward. I can't wait to get it in your hands. Is this cool? Come on, wake up, guys. This good? Yeah. This is good. So that's the planner. It's cool stuff. I'm really excited. I'm dying to hear from all of you about your successes and that it's really helping out. And absolutely know that more is coming in a little bit. So what's next? And this is the roadmap pitch. So we've talked about everything in the left-hand column. And now we've got the next. This is the nearer horizon. We're moving along pretty steadily on this. Think in terms of next month, much of this probably in the rest of this calendar year. This is not a commit. Contents may shift during takeoff. But what we're looking at, resource planning, it's not just the core that I just demoed, but there's a number of added features, such as going to adjustable journal size, and then additional platforms, managing compute as well. So there's a bunch of enhancements that are coming with resource planning. VM reports. This is one, we got a load of enhancement requests in our ideas portal. And it's interesting, we've got about 5 or 6 flavors of requests that all lean towards a VM report solution. And it's one of these tricky things, and it's great. I think our folks who are inputting into the ideas, they're doing a great job helping us with what's the problem, rather than just saying, I need a VM report. Hey, I need to understand, the state of this VM. I need to understand if there are, badly behaving, if there are VMs that are consuming an inordinate amount of network. So when I have those kind of requests, I intentionally keep them separate. And it's clear that we need to lean towards some kind of VM report. So that's a strong candidate. I think now is as good a time as any. There are 2 surveys floating around. One for health report, one for VM report, where we're looking for real feedback, metrics, what's important to you if we had a VM report, what isn't. So you can go after this session. There's a link in in the invite to this session. It's like 3 minutes. I'm going to keep the survey open, until noon tomorrow. So even if you're at the airport traveling and you got 3 minutes, each survey is about 3 minutes. You got 3 minutes to kill. Get us the feedback, because it matters. We're collecting the metrics on, what is it you need. So there, I got my pitch in for making sure you take a look at those surveys. So that's VM reports, global search, not just today's use, that's going to become really important for LTR. So now that we've got from seconds to years, being able to look at files, being able to use Zerto Analytics globally to go find anything you need, that's going to be really important and powerful coming soon. And then ongoing enhancements. Usability is kind of an interesting one. You saw we have a couple usability improvements in ZVM. We had a bunch in the can for ZA. They were supposed to come out at the same time, honestly, big noise with Zerto 7. But the planner became, possible. And we saw that if we went all in on planner, we could get that to you almost in the 7.0 timeframe. So all we did is put a bunch of usability in Zerto Analytics off to the side for the moment, accelerated on planner. We're getting that out to you. Now that planner's out, now we're going to improve usability. And it's good usability today. But actually, Jeff pointed out, there's a number of things we've done. We've been moving so fast. We wanted to get value out to you. We didn't take a step back. So about 3 weeks ago, I was over in Israel with a team. We spent a half-day brainstorming, really sorting out overall usability for, drilling into sites, providing breadcrumbs, very traditional navigation, but we're really getting to a point where you're going to see some significant usability improvements through the end of this year. So that's coming soon too. And the way you'll keep an eye on that is just look at that little What's New tab, so you'll see what's new. This is a little further out. Maybe some items in that middle column shift right. Maybe some of the items in the right column shift left. I don't know. That's your feedback surveys, that helps us understand it. I already talked about more reports. Actually, long-term retention analytics. We're going to need that. We wanted to make sure analytics gets out. Once analytics is out, we're going to go into deeper analysis of the reports for your backup, for your LTR. Resilience health, that's the second of the 2 surveys that are up there. And one of my favorite questions is, what does resilience health mean to you? Is it health of of our Zerto? Is it the health of your protected environment? What does that mean? And we have a survey with some very specific questions and some open-ended questions. So if you have time, hit that, help us understand it. But I hear it regularly, and I've got requests, a view of how's it going, something a little deeper than we've got on the dashboard, but enough that you can look at it and know if there's anything you ought to be worried about. I mean, Jeff kind of hit at it with today, it's VPG, you search, sort in the appropriate way, and you got a pretty good feel pretty quickly if anything's misbehaving. That's a good start. We want something where you look at it and you know. So that's the kind of thing we're heading towards with resilience health. Zerto Mobile, there's a few things we got to do. We know we got to do it. It's time for the Zorg filter, and as the health summary gets a little more mature, we move that into Zerto Mobile, and now we're getting, this is further out. Guarantee you we are not going to have prescriptive troubleshooting in this year. Not going to happen in 2019, but we may start making inroads in that in the 2020 timeframe, and that's really the ability to be proactive and prescriptive, like, not to be absolute about it, but to say, if you went and optimized, if you went and really distributed these loads a little bit, if you added one more ZCA, you would never have any RPO breaches, to have that baked in. And so we have a lot of concepts there. There's no way it's going to be productized in this calendar year. But that's looking out further. And I've talked to you already a lot. RBAC is an ongoing conversation. Actually, Chris Duffy's right here. So he and I are shoulder to shoulder. He's the product manager. He's the director of a team for really the whole core product. So he and I are shoulder to shoulder and trying to sort out RBAC. And frankly, it's his lead. I'm sticking you with that. But it's in the core product, and we want to help and leverage it. But what we definitely don't want to do is build little point solutions that really don't cover the whole product. That's a hard problem. We're going to try to figure out ways to incrementally make progress on that. So don't know how quickly you're going to get to see that. We know we want to do more with that, and it's a work in progress. With that, how are we doing on time? Do we have a 4:40? All right, we'll take like a couple minutes, end right at 4:45. Hey, Jeff, come on back up if you want. And I'd be happy to field any questions. I know Jeff would be happy to field any questions you have. So, what are you thinking about? What's missing from this list? Yeah, what's up?
So some organizations might be sensitive to sending stuff like VM names, data store names, network names, and that sort of thing up somewhere.
Yep.
Where's all this being stored? Where's this all, is that information available?
Yeah, it is. We have actually Google Zerto Analytics security. And we have a white paper, brief white paper, that talks about the architecture, the secure architecture, what we have today. We're actually looking at advancing that. In fact, I should get that on the roadmap because we are making some security, we get feedback, what will help, you use it more quickly. Your point is really well taken. So that's one thing. But the other thing, I think in the latest version of that, in that document, there's a reference to all of the metadata that we do store. And that's in the admin guides. And it made more sense if they're in the admin guides and that content stays fresh. So, I think you might want to just go straight to the admin guide and search on security. So. Yeah, and that's an ongoing conversation. We absolutely are seeing that adoption is getting better, and we understand. I mean, Jeff even said, there's like, what is it? You said it's like how much of your environment you're still trying to get permission to be able to see?
About a third. About 2/3 right now reports into analytics.
There you go. So a third that isn't. So we want you to use it for everything. So in your journey, keep us filled in on what it's going to take. And I think probably the best place is through that ideas portal I was talking about. Help us understand what will make it easier for you. Good, thanks. Yeah. Oh.
Any plans for a federal
Plans, no. I'm going to be picky because a plan is like people are actually working on it and there's dates. It's absolutely a roadmap item. There's a government focus on this upcoming release. We're going to be doing some things under the covers. One of the things we're looking at doing is storing metadata in a secure Gov cloud, that are meaningful steps. Is that a hard plan yet? No. But we want to get there, so that's about the best answer I have for you. So, good, thanks. Yeah, sorry, I missed you last time. Yeah.
You mentioned vCenter for the zPlanner equivalent.
Yep.
Does that cover Hyper-V as well?
So the question is, I mentioned vCenter, but does it cover Hyper-V? And the short answer is it does not today. It will in the future. There's a list of about 20 planner enhancements. So today, you go from vCenter, you can go to Hyper-V on-prem, you can go to VMware on-prem, it's getting late, Azure, AWS. Very soon, from Hyper-V to any of those. It's just, we got to pick. And to be very clear, with AWS also, we are, in this first release, we're not making ZCA recommendations for AWS in this first release. But we're not going to wait because we've got it for Azure. So we're getting it out the door. So if you're looking for AWS, that ZCA recommendation still is kind of a best practices, the kind of things that, JP and Shannon have been driving for the last 5-6 months. So does that help?
Yeah, and does the script that he's written, does that work for?
So, in the interest of time, I'm sorry, I'm going to put you guys, if we could have like a quick 2-minute chat after this, and, because they have been making progress with this, monthly. I'm sorry? Okay, so it just doesn't. All right, so short answer, no. Thanks. Yeah.
So I was wondering about kind of the original zPlanner, is that going away? We've used it as a pre-sales tool kind of before Zerto was installed on all of the like, this is, in the analytics it's great because you already have, a VPN installed, but before you get to that stage.
So the short answer is someday it will eventually go away. It's kind of a wise guy answer. What I'd like to do, I'd like the approach of we want to get so much value in this that everybody just stops using zPlanner. And we know that there are a bunch of users out there that are using zPlanner just because there's good content they can't get anywhere else. So your use case is common as well. So I don't have any plans to end of life it until we see that nobody uses it anymore.
Also, keep in mind it's open source, so you're welcome to use it and do whatever you want with it, but it's not supported by Zerto, so I think that's kind of what you're getting at is that
Right,
So
right.
it's not, but it's all the code's on GitHub, so, you know, any partner, whatever is free to use it, fork it, whatever you need to do.
Good. We probably are about at time. So one more question?
I just had a quick question about what Jeff called the star map.
Yep.
Is there any rhyme or reason to where the ZVMs and the ZCAs show up on there? Because we have about 10 or 12, and they're all over the place. They're pointing all across lines. And is there any rhyme or reason? And is there going to be any way to organize it?
No and yes. No, there is no rhyme or. So we leverage an existing tool. We don't build everything. So currently, yeah, we are wrestling with how to get that untangled. Yeah, because you saw what Jeff showed us. You know, I mean, you got a mess already, man. But
Oh, and it's going to get a lot messier, I know.
but it could get laid out better, and we admit that. So that's one of those enhancement areas. It's not. There's challenges with it. And yeah, I think, and I saw a couple of heads as you were saying. Is there any rhyme or reason? People are going like, yeah. So we get it, and we're trying to get you value, and then we're trying to work off the rough edges as we go. So I got one last thing I want to say one last time, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, it's always good working with you as a partner, but
My
also having you come up in here and help. I think. One more round of applause for Jeff. Thank
Lee
you.
Kaminsky, ladies and gentlemen.
And housekeeping, if you get a chance, please fill this out. Marketing will beat me if I don't have enough people filling this out. And the last one, number 5 I added, the survey's open, linked right to this session. I'll leave it open until noon tomorrow. Please, your feedback helps us do better. So that's a wrap. Thanks, everybody. Zerto's done. ZertoCon is done.